This is Jeremy Shesky with Balance Community Slackline Outfitters out here in cloudy Davis, California. Today we're going to be looking at the new BC Primitive Pro Slackline kit. This is a complete kit, set up lines up to 140 feet all by yourself. It's really modular, super lightweight, and really minimal with the amount of gear that you want to use. In this video, we're going to show you how to set up this cool new Primitive Pro Slackline kit. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do is lay out all your gear onto the ground here, just like this. And we're going to set up the non-tensioning side of our line first. And so the first thing you want to do is find a nice spot between two solid trees, and then grab your arrow slackline webbing with a sewn loop at the end and unravel it just like that. Set it out all nice. Make sure there's no twists here. So we're going to take this end, one of our BC shackles, one sling, and a tree pro. And we're going to walk that to the static anchor tree. So let's do that. Alright, so now that we're at the static end, what you're going to want to do is find yourself a solid tree. This tree is pretty solid. We want to have at least 12 inches diameter at the spot, at the height where we're going to be wrapping the tree with our sling. This one has about 14 to 16 inches. So the first thing you want to do is wrap your tree pro around the tree. And then on top of that tree pro, put your anchor sling, just like that. And then wrap it around and then connect two of the anchor holes with your BC shackle. And you want to make it so that the angle of the two slings is about 90 degrees or less. So don't cinch it up super tight to the tree so it's a huge angle there. Bring it out a good distance just like that. And then attach your sewn loop straight to the pin of the shackle, ensuring that the pin is fully tightened. You don't want to cinch it down super hard because then it won't be releasable at the end, but just hand tight is fine. And a few notes about this anchor. As far as the height goes, you want to make sure that you set it to allow for at least 1 foot of sag for every 20 feet of slack line. So this line is about 80 feet long that we're going to be rigging. And so I set my anchor at about 4 feet high to allow for 4 feet of sag in the middle. That's a good ratio to have. So that would be the minimum. We can set it up higher if we want to have a looser line to make it easier to rig, but this is about a good height for this length. So we'll keep it there. The next step is to walk the line back to the tensioning anchor, making sure that it's flat. So let's do that now. Once you walk your line over to the tensioning tree and you're fairly close to it, you want to set it down so that the flat is up, and then take a stick, stab it into the ground, and kind of press it down onto the webbing, ensuring that it stays flat while we rig the tensioning anchor, which we're going to do right now. To rig our tensioning anchor, we're going to need one tree pro, our second anchor sling, both carabiners, the large steel ring, and one BC shackle. So let's bring those to our tensioning anchor tree. Alright, so do the same thing that you did on the static side and wrap your tree pro at the same height as the other side around the tree, and then pass your sling around the tree as well so that it sits on top of the tree pro. So this anchor is a little bit different from now. So what we're going to do is take our medium ring with the two carabiners attached to it in the same direction, just like that, and pass one end of the sling through. You want to ensure that there's no twists in the sling all the way around the tree. So slide that off to the side, then take the other end and pull out your BC shackle. Pass it through one of the anchor holes on one of the sides and tighten it up so that you have like a 90-degree angle again on the same as the other side. pass the pin of the shackle through an anchor hole on the other end of the sling, closing the loop. It's easier to just do it this way. So what you want to have is one loop on the pin, one loop on the bow. Then we're going to slide that over to the side. We're going to have the ring sit like that. And that's our tensioning anchor. So next step is to rig our primitive system using the primitive tensioning strap. So let's do that. So now that our tensioning anchor is rigged, let's build our primitive system. So we're going to need our primitive tensioning strap, the small steel ring, and the remaining 2 BC shackles. So let's go. So you're going to want to come back to the line where you let the stick on top of it, and we're going to build a line locker on the bow of one of these BC shackles. So the spot that you want to build your line locker is about 5% of the entire length of the line away from the tensioning tree. So we have an 80-foot line here, 5% of 80 is 4. So we need to rig this at least 4 feet away from the tensioning anchor. And at this spot here, we're about 6 feet, which is plenty. So remove your stick, ensure that you have flat still, and we're going to build a line locker now. So make a fold in your webbing, walking line on top, tail on the bottom. Pass it through the ring, just like that. Pull a little bit of slack through, go around, and back through the same direction. Just like that. Grab a BC shackle, undo the pin, and pass it through the fold, just like that. Cinch it down. And then unravel your primitive tensioning strap and attach the end sewn loop straight to the pin such that the tail is on the bottom. You don't want it like this. You want it like this, with the tail on the bottom. There. Make sure that pin is closed just like before. And make sure that that's sitting pretty with everything stacked well. The last step here is to install the second BC shackle on the inner sewn loop. Just like that. And again, remember, tail on the bottom. So, there we go. Now we can build our primitive system. Let's do that. So what we're going to do is take our primitive tensioning strap tail here, which is on the bottom, and run it towards the tensioning anchor. We have our 2 carabiners here. What we're going to do is pass it up through the bottom carabiner. And then work it back and go up through the bow of this shackle here, the inner shackle, and feed the entire length through the bow. Run it back here, and then the top carabiner, we're going to go down, just like that. Run it back here, and then with the tail, go up the bow here, and then tuck it underneath the previous pass. And that's the key point to make sure the tension is held in your system. Now with this tail, you can pull and start to tension your line. You want to make sure there's no twists throughout the whole system here. And make sure that once you have a little bit of tension, that tail is still sitting underneath the previous pass. And you can pull until it becomes difficult. And the next step, once it's hard to pull and your tension isn't still isn't enough to keep you off the ground in the middle, we're going to use the multiplier kit to add more tension. Let's do that. Now that we've tensioned the line as much as we can by hand, let's install this primitive squared multiplier kit, pull squared multiplier kit, and add some more tension so we can walk the line. To install the pull squared, first you want to unravel it. You notice that there's a carabiner on either end, and that one side has the tail leaving. This would be that side. We want this side to be connected to the webbing. And so the opposite side, take the carabiner and clip it to the bottom of your tensioning sling. Bottom of the ring underneath the other carabiners. And fully extend the remainder, clipping it to the bottom of your line so that we can attach it over there. And invert that, grabbing these two strands. That's the girth hitch. So where your finger is where you want to clip this carabiner. You'll notice that it's kind of slack. We can actually pull slack through this, getting this as tight as possible. So find this and follow it through the knot. And pull it as tight as you can there. And then work that loop around the knot and pull the tail, just like that. Now, you can grab a hold of this and pull till it's closed. So once it's closed, we're going to have to reset. So pull this out as far as you can and do the same thing by working this knot loose. Follow this tensioning tail through the knot. Pull it until you can't pull it anymore. Work that slack around. Pull it through the tail. Just like that. And then pull here again. Repeat these steps until the line is tensioned enough to your liking. I believe it's tight enough now. So what I'm going to do is install the backups. You definitely want to back up this tail. So remove your pull squared, then close it up. Leave this carabiner here. Remove the pulleys. Put that to the side, and now we're going to back up this tail here. And we want to form what's known as a munter hitch, munter mule. So create a loop just like that, and bring that loop up and around. That's a munter hitch. Clip that to the carabiner. And just like the girth hitch before, we're going to tighten this until no slack is left. So work this through, pull it until it's tight, and then work the slack through the tail. And there we go, that's pretty tight. So what that does is allows the tail to be backed up. If this were to come untucked and the tension were to be loaded on this is a releasable knot so that we can remove the tension from the line even though our tension holder has not succeeded. So now we're going to finish this knot with the mule part of the knot. So what you want to do is create a loop in the tail, go on one side, and pass a fold over the line through that loop. Then I like to finish that with a bunch of half hitches. So go over everything and tuck it. Over everything, tuck it. There we go. That's backed up. And you could further back it up by taking the second carabiner from your full squared, clipping it to the ring, and backing up the tail of your slackline in the same way, same knot. Slide through, tight. And finish it with mule. There we go. We're all set. So now we can check the middle, make sure it's tight enough, and enjoy the line. Alright, so now that we're done slacklining, we're going to want to take down our line, and there's a really simple way to do this. The first thing you're going to want to do is untie your back up from this carabiner, which I've already done. I got the tail here. And then you're going to want to redirect the tail away from the anchor, just like this. And stand a considerable distance back. I'm about 7 feet, 2 meters about from here. That's a good amount of distance to be let through the system, because as soon as I pull on this and it becomes untucked, it's going to suck all this material back through that tensioning system. So you want to allow room for that. So let's take a firm grip on this tail, pull it out until it becomes untucked, and then just feed into the system. Super easy. And then you can deconstruct the whole system and pack it up into your pack. That pretty much covers everything you need to know about setting up, walking, and de-rigging your Primitive Pro slackline kit. Thanks for watching. Again, my name is Jerry with Balance Community Slackline Outfitters. Check out awesome slackline products and more information about slacklining in general at balancecommunity.com. Thanks for watching.